Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Melissa and I'm the owner of seasonandserveblog.com. Today I'm very excited. We are starting our wedding series here on my channel. So the aim of the wedding series is to kind of show you guys how we're planning our wedding, where we're doing it, our style, all that fun stuff. So I'm excited to take you guys along with us on this big journey. We're learning a lot as we go through this process, and I hope I can, give you some tips and tricks of things that I've learned along the way. And also, if you are a local bride or groom in Victoria, I can give you some recommendations, hopefully, for some vendors. So it obviously takes two people to get married, and I am very happy to welcome my fiance, David, to our wedding series video. He's going to be helping me film and give his perspective in these series as well, so we'll have both the bride and the groom's perspective. And without further ado, the latte art master himself, David!
Hi everyone!
There he is! It's David!
I'm a real person.
Let's hope so, oh my gosh. So, this is my fiance, David. I love him so much. He was my first subscriber on my YouTube channel. And you get to eat all the good food that I cook.
Yeah.
How lucky is he?
Yeah, I eat everything on her channel and her Instagram.
Most of the time, it's not always warm, but by the time I take all my photos and stuff, but you're a good sport about that.
Yeah, that's why we have a microwave.
Exactly. So first we're going to talk about our engagement, and we actually got engaged on August 18th, 2018, and it's currently mid-February 2020. So we were engaged for over a year before we started planning or do anything for the wedding. And I think this time was like kind of good. Like once we got engaged, we didn't rush into anything and we could just enjoy our time together.
Yeah, there was a lot of going on in that year too. After we got engaged, we bought a house, and you see from Melissa's video all the work that she's done for the house, so it's just been like...
And the work that you've done.
Crazy, yeah.
Yeah, we were very busy. So yeah, I think that year of time, just, getting our lives together and starting our new life in Victoria. So as I said, we got engaged on August 18th of 2018, and David did it in the most sneaky way. I had no idea he was going to propose, and it was crazy.
The whole plan was we had this giant picnic basket that Melissa had bought. We were planning to do all these picnics, and there was this really nice picnic spot on Sax Point Park in Esquimalt that we really liked. And so we were gonna go there for a picnic, and I kind of planned out oh, let's go for a picnic. And I kind of chose this date because it's kind of a lucky date for Chinese people too. I bought the ring, we actually went to look for the ring together, and I had it for 3 months. And she didn't know. No idea. I said we should go for a picnic the day before, and then Melissa, being her needing to have everything delicious and wonderful, I didn't. At this point, I was so nervous. I didn't care about what kind of sandwiches or meat. That none of that mattered to me. But she was like, "Oh no, this meat isn't good. We're gonna go somewhere else." So the morning of, we drove around the city looking for the best cold cuts, and I was just freaking out the whole time.
Sorry.
Yeah, my whole plan came together really well because I had my tripod, I had my camera set up, and I was like, oh, besides having this picnic, we don't have a lot of pictures together, so let's take some photos. I got the camera set up and I was taking photos, and I had a bunch of lenses with me, and the engagement ring was in the lens box, and I was pretending to take pictures, and I was like, this lens isn't working, I need to change the lens. And so I clicked the camera on record, and I went to change the lenses, and Melissa was just like, oh yeah, I was
looking over there at seagulls, no clue.
Yeah, and then I turned around, and I was already, it helped because I was already on one knee because I was on the ground for the picnic, and yeah, and then I asked her to marry me. Yeah. And now we have a 10-minute video of me crying.
So maybe I can see if I can insert some clips here so you can get the feeling for how it was and how sneaky David was.
I think I need another lens. I don't want to steal your freaking thunder. I gotta turn off the video on the camera.
Oh my god! Yeah, you did a really good job. And it was a beautiful day, and we had really good cold cuts on our sandwich, so we had a good meal. And then you asked me to marry you.
Yeah.
It was literally one of the best days ever. So now a little bit about the location for our wedding. We are getting married here on Vancouver Island, and I kind of think this was a little bit of a no-brainer for us. A lot of my family's in Ontario, and David's family's in Vancouver and China, so we thought like Vancouver Island would be kind of like a middle meeting space for everyone. A lot of our family haven't been to the west coast of Canada before, so I think, you know, we kind of wanted them to have that like west coast Canadian experience. And also logistically, that's where we live now. I can't imagine planning a wedding, you know, in another location and not knowing any like local vendors or suppliers. I think that would just cause a lot more headaches.
We're getting married in the fall. Won't tell you what the date is because we don't want any wedding crashers. So.
There was lots of other aspects as to why we chose the fall. First of all, for me, I didn't want to be sweating in a wedding dress in the summer, and I imagine you didn't want to be sweating in a wedding suit in the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just not a good look, I feel.
Yeah, and I think the last couple of years, especially around BC and the South Coast even, there's been a lot of forest fires. We didn't want to risk a chance of a really bad fire season that in the summertime that would have affected the quality, especially for an outdoor wedding. And I think if you have to deal with rain or smoke, people in the West Coast are kind of used to the rain, and they do have backup plans for us if it's raining, but it's a little more difficult to have a backup plan when half the province is on fire.
So we didn't want that to impact our wedding and our guests and like their health when they're there. So that was a big factor we also considered. An additional factor was the fact that the fall is sort of the off season for weddings. And I don't really know why. I feel like it's such a beautiful time in the year to get married, but it was a lot cheaper to get married in the fall. So we are actually just outside of like the high season. Having our wedding in October, so it was a little bit cheaper for us, which is good because weddings are really expensive, as we know now. And we kind of knew before anyways. Having it in the off season will save you a lot of money, and additionally we're not having it on a weekend, also because they upcharge for weekends like thousands of dollars. So we're actually getting married on a weekday in October, and we're saving quite a bit of money that we can allocate elsewhere into our wedding.
Since our guests all have to travel anyway, it kind of made sense to have it on a weekday, just because they would have had to take the weekday off to travel. Yeah,
and they can totally make a vacation out of it, so I think people will love it here. And then they'll understand why like I moved here. I'm not going back to Ontario. Yeah, the West Coast is beautiful, so we love it here, and I'm happy we're getting married here. So we looked at a bunch of venues around the Victoria area, and we found some pretty nice ones. We went and saw a couple, and you know, they were really beautiful, but they weren't really our sort of style. We actually settled on Villa Eyrie Resort, and it's up on the Malahat, kind of between Victoria and Mill Bay. And it is probably one of the most breathtaking wedding venues, I think, here on Vancouver Island. I'll insert some pictures for you guys. The view of Finlayson Arm and the mountains and the trees, I think will be super beautiful. It's beautiful year-round, but I think particularly in the fall, it'll be even more spectacular with the different leaves and like shrubs that change color. It was really funny. We actually went to a couple like bridal wedding shows in Victoria, and we entered a contest with Villa Eyrie to win like a 2-night stay there, and we actually won, which was crazy.
Yeah.
So we got to go up there for a night and sort of experience it. We stayed in their master suite, which was so beautiful.
It was pretty spectacular and a great view.
Yeah, the master suite apparently wasn't like the rooms with the best view, but it was still beautiful. Like, I don't think there's a room with a bad view in that whole place. And of course, food was a very big important aspect of our wedding. We wanted a place, you know, that had really good caterers or chefs. And Villa Eyrie has one of, like, I think probably like some of the best food here on Vancouver Island. Their chefs at their restaurant are absolutely like amazing. Also with the catering, they sort of had a little switch in the way they do their catering for weddings. Originally they ran it out from the Summit restaurant, so they were kind of doing like a dinner service and a wedding at the same time, which really slows down the kitchen and having to transport it from the restaurant up to the villa where we're going to be having our wedding. Logistically, they found it was sort of difficult. So for Villa Eyrie's 2020 weddings, they have now partnered up with House of Boateng, which is an acclaimed restaurant in Langford, BC, and the executive chef Castro Boateng will be doing our wedding.
Yeah, and you might be showing up too.
It would be wonderful if he could like come up and like actually cook for our wedding. I would be so happy, and we're definitely getting pictures with him. So food was a big aspect for us, and knowing that House of Boateng is going to be doing our wedding, we are just ecstatic. I am so excited, and I can't wait to have the food at our wedding. So one of the first things we did after securing our venue was finding a photographer. And David is really big into photography, so I actually left that task up to him, and he did a fantastic job.
For me, when I was looking for photographers, like most photographers now, I think the easy thing to do is to go on Instagram and look at what their photos look like, and then if you kind of like what they have on Instagram, then you gotta go on their website and see what their wedding packages might look like. We came across a photographer that we really liked, and it fit our budget and was like exceptional in terms of like when we started to talk with her, she was just very accommodating, and the kind of theme that we're going for our wedding, she was really excited to work with us on that.
So after looking at many photographers, the photographer that we chose was Shantal Marie, and I'll leave her information up here with some pictures, as well as all of her information down below. She has such a beautiful photography style. She's super nice, super accommodating, and we are so excited to work with her.
She's excited working with us. Like, she really helped us out, even in the first
our first meeting, consultation meeting.
Yeah, she like helped lay us like, this is the kind of steps you want to take for your wedding, and what do you want to do. And so because we're having some kind of Chinese elements to the wedding too, she was really good at trying to help us schedule that.
She was very prompt in responding to emails as well, which I found amazing, because a lot of times you're contacting a bunch of vendors and they don't respond to you for like weeks, but she was like that.
Yeah.
It was so good. So she was really helpful in like kind of providing us all that information up front and responding to all of our questions. And David always has a lot of questions, so she was really good at answering all of those. Also, a big thing with the photographer we went with is her style. And I think that's a good tip for, you know, when you're considering photographers, to kind of know what your style is and what you're going for your wedding photos. Her style is a bit more contrast, and I think for a fall wedding, the colors that we're using in our wedding are just gonna pop and be super beautiful. Chantal's also doing our engagement photos, and they're gonna be happening probably in the next month or so, which is so exciting. And we're doing this really cool concept that we're not gonna share yet with you guys, but we are planning on doing sort of an engagement shoot sort of vlog with her, so you can kind of see where we went, how we dressed, the style of it and what we're going for, and I'm so excited. It's gonna be so much fun.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's gonna be great.
So apart from doing wedding photography, Shantal also runs a lot of workshops for photographers who are just starting out, so you can kind of learn the basics and all that fun stuff. So if you're interested in that, or you're looking for a wedding photographer, I'll leave all her information down below so you can go check her out. So that is our first update in our wedding series. We're just getting stuff started, but I feel like we're moving pretty fast in selecting our vendors and getting everything lined up. So October's gonna be here before we know it. It's gonna be crazy. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. So talk a bit more about our wedding style in our next video, as well as some other vendors if we've chosen them by the time the next video goes out. So yes, please like and subscribe to our channel, and also you can follow me on Instagram. I'll leave my handle right here. You can watch me on Instagram stories. I'm on Instagram stories all the time, so you can see what we're eating for dinner, some fun recipes I'm making, and then also catch a couple of more wedding tidbits as we work through our process. Thank you, David, for coming along and being in the wedding series video.
Yeah, I guess I'm planning this too.
You're doing a great job. So thanks guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye.